are listening to Julia's Trucking Cafe News Hour. Hi everybody, welcome again to Julia's Trucking Cafe Trucking News Hour. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing? I hope you had a good week. I'm sorry I always ask that. Not that I'm needing a response or anything, but I'm just so used to saying that on my podcast show. So I hope everybody's having a really good week. A lot of bad weather we're having this week, huh? Crazy, isn't it? Holy moly. So let's get right to the news. A truck driver was found dead in his cab during a winter storm on Grapevine. This was day after Christmas. California Highway Patrol investigating the death of this truck driver found inside his cab on Grapevine the day after Christmas. Sad to say, our condolences are with his family. He was found unresponsive in his truck around 8:30 the day after Christmas by a tow truck driver on southbound I-5 near Lubbock, California, according to local news. Authorities responded and pronounced him dead at the scene. California Highway Patrol says the truck driver was not involved in a crash, and police believe he may have pulled over off the interstate to sleep. The cause of the driver's death is still under investigation. If I hear any more about it, y'all be the first to know. So sorry about that, and condolences to his family. And the FMCSA is doubling the drug test rate for truck drivers, the random drug test rate. The FMCSA will be dramatically increasing the number of random drug tests that will be administered to us drivers in 2020. In December 26 notice, the FMCSA announced that it would increase the minimum annual rate of random drug tests for truck drivers from the current rate of 25 to 50% effective this month in January. According to FMCSA, the increased drug testing rate will mean 2.1 million random drug substances will need to be conducted. Let's try that again. According to FMCSA, the increased drug testing rate will mean that 2.1 million random controlled substance tests will need to be conducted in the calendar year of 2020, doubling the normal drug test rate and expecting to cost the trucking industry an additional $50 to $70 million in 2020. The FMCSA is required to increase the random drug test rate from 25 to 50% following any calendar year which the reported positive drug test rate is equal to or greater than 1%. So, that's legal jargon. So let's talk in trucking terms. Anytime drug testing rate, the positive portion of it, in other words, a lot of drivers are popping dirty on a drug test, they have to increase the random drug testing procedure from 25 to 50% to see which category is actually doing it. And the FMCSA says that the positive rate for controlled substances random testing in 2018 is up 1% from an estimated positive drug usage rate of 0.7% in 2016 and 0.8% in 2017. So anytime, like I said, that when they get popped for being dirty and that rate goes up over 1%, then the random drug testing procedures and tests per se are being spiked. So I have to change articles here. This transitioning always gets me, people, so please be patient with me. I'm trying to do it as quick as I can. And a truck driver survives a fiery crash into a bridge. Michigan police say that a truck driver suffered only minor injuries in a violent collision with a bridge that happened in Fenton, Michigan. A semi-truck traveling southbound in US 23 left the roadway and drove up an embankment and crashed into Owen Road Bridge. The truck caught fire after it hit the bridge. The truck driver suffered only minor injuries during the crash, thank goodness, and this crash is still under investigation. And truck drivers are surprised by a cool little Christmas gift. A group of truck drivers weren't able to make it home for the holiday and were surprised at a South Dakota truck stop by a little trucker who wanted to thank them and wish them a Merry Christmas. It all happened on Christmas Day at the Coffee Cup Travel Plaza off of I-29 near Vermilion in South Dakota, when a little girl named Trinity and her parents stopped by to spread a little Christmas cheer to truck drivers out on the road for the holiday. 4-year-old asked a question this year to her parents. What happens to all the truckers who can't go home for Christmas? We told her, just like her daddy has done before, stay at truck stops. Well, she just wasn't having it. No cookies? No turkey? So then she said, we must bring them Christmas. So we're driving all around finding truckers to say thank you for all you do and have some Christmas cookies. From a 4-year-old future Jessie Schmidt farm and trucking girl, just like her daddy. They shared the heartwarming photos of Trinity visiting truck drivers at the truck stop. Truck drivers Dawn Jasmine was one of the drivers who received Trinity's sweet note while she was preparing to leave the truck stop. Jasmine said in a Facebook post that quickly went viral, I wasn't planning on crying today. Then I was getting ready to leave the truck stop in South Dakota. A pickup truck rolled up and a manly little girl handed me this. It really touched my heart, getting me choked up. Jasmine told the local news, I was so touched by this gesture, I broke out in tears. I told my husband now how I am supposed to drive with tears in my eyes. Jasmine also shared a photo of Trinity blessing one of the other drivers at the truck stop. So after pulling myself together after that last story, on to some more news. 45 Florida inmates complete CDL training behind bars. Now I want you to please leave me a comment on how you feel about this. I really have mixed emotions on this. You know, in a way I'm glad that they're getting training and everything behind bars, you know, to help them get a job after they come out. But on another hand, you know, did they really learn their lesson at the same time? You know, I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know. So how do you feel about this next story? Please leave me a comment in the description below, and, you know, comment section down in the description. Anyway, dozens of inmates in a Florida prison were recognized for completing their commercial driver's license training at a recent graduation ceremony. This happened back just after Christmas. On December 20th, the Santa Rosa Correctional Institute held a graduation ceremony to honor the accomplishments of 45 inmates who graduated from the popular truck driving training program. The Secretary of Florida Department of Corrections, Mark S. Inch, was on hand to attend the graduation ceremony. The CDL program offered by the prison requires a minimum of 150 hours of training, including 20 hours of classroom work, 20 hours of behind-the-wheel training, and similar training 3 hours a day for 14 days, according to the Santa Rosa Press-Gazette. The students will be required to, of course, pass their written and skills tests officially to earn their CDL-A or CDL-B. The CDL training program also works with local trucking companies to help the former inmates find employment when they are released. The truck driver training program is so popular there is a waiting list to participate. Currently, the Santa Rosa Correctional Institute is the only prison in Florida offering a CDL training program, but the program has been so successful that there are plans to expand it to other institutions. So like I said, definitely, you know, hopefully it could be a good thing. So, you know, you just don't know. And Virginia, the state of, is trying to pass a bill that would require all big rigs to be equipped with a GPS. I remember back in the day when Virginia was one of the first states to outlaw radar detectors, that I heard horror stories and everything about how they would take a radar detector out of your truck. One cop threw it on the ground and stomped on it and repoed it, or you know, took it from you and stuff and wouldn't let you have it back. That was back in the day. So a Virginia lawmaker recently introduced a bill that would require truck drivers to install and use commercial GPS devices. But now at the same time, we all know you don't trust your GPS. And now, of course, Virginia is going to be requiring you to have it. So this bill is House Bill 170, and it was introduced by State Delegate Terry Austin. And the bill is reportedly a response to an increase in traffic trouble caused by stuck trucks and bridge strikes. But he doesn't understand that they don't tell you where the hell a low bridge is. It's called a road atlas, you know, Rand McNally trucking atlas that tells you all the bridge heights, which everybody should have, the old paper atlas. The bill would require commercial vehicles to be equipped with a global positioning system. I'll talk right on this video yet. Specifically designed for large commercial vehicles that assist such a vehicle avoid low overpasses. None of them do that. Avoid prohibited roads and identify highways suitable for such vehicle. If you can't read signs that says 11.3, 11.2, and you're still going to go under the bridge because you think you might make it, what the hell is a GPS going to do? My goodness. The bill would require the GPS device to be in use at all times except when the truck is on an interstate. House Bill 170, I'm laughing because this is hysterical, is currently awaiting referral to the committee in Virginia. I'm like, oh my goodness, you know? And black ice sends a semi barreling into oncoming traffic. Now, this, of course, is a dash cam, and I apologize, I can't play the video, but you can play it if you come to the show notes. That'll be in the description. The link will be down in the description, and you can see it for yourself. I just don't want a copyright strike. A trucker's dash cam captures the moment that he loses control on an icy road, crosses the median, and nearly hits another semi head-on. It was shared on YouTube, and he writes, semi-truck slides at 45 miles an hour on black ice. So, you know, slow down, people. Telling you. Slow the F down. Almost dropped the F-bomb. Gotta be careful. This is a G-rated show. And Texas news crews capture a semi plowing into a pileup after being hit by a SUV on US 84. Local news crew were filming as they almost were hit by an out-of-control semi-truck in Texas on Friday. That's what you get for being in the way. The incident began on a foggy stretch of US 84 in Lubbock County when several vehicles crashed in both the eastbound and westbound lanes. As troopers were responding to these crashes with news crew on scene filming, an eastbound semi-truck driver reportedly lost control after an SUV driver changed lanes in front of him and hit him. The truck was caught on camera by the local news crew as it slid and came to a stop within feet of the camera. Like I said, that's what you get for being in the way. According to reports, the sliding semi-truck struck a trooper and another vehicle, leaving a person trapped inside. Both the trooper and the person who were trapped were taken to the hospital, but are expected to survive. And NFI buys a South Carolina trucking company. Logistics giant NFI announced that they have completed the acquisition of GMP Trucking Company Incorporated. They are based out of Columbia, South Carolina, and were acquired by NFI for an undisclosed amount, expanding NFI's presence in the Southeast. GMP operates approximately 370 tractors and 3,000 trailers. NFI says that the addition of GMP will grow them to a total of 2,700 company drivers and 400 owner-operators. The acquisition was made in part to expand NFI's drayage presence at the ports of Savannah, Norfolk, and Charleston. GMP is a well-respected, family-owned transportation company with deep-rooted history, and our shared values of family and integrity create a perfect cultural fit, said Sid Brown, CEO of NFI. Quote from the article, unifying the talents of both NFI and GMP teams, we are excited to bring even greater value to our customers through our robust suite of solutions. Together, our combined footprint will distinguish us as one of the largest dedicated transportation providers in North America, end quote. NFI is based in Camden, New Jersey, and generates about $2 billion in annual revenue. NFI also acquired Long Beach, California-based drayage company Cal Cartage in the fall of 2017. And FMCSA is boasting their accomplishments for 2019. On New Year's Eve, the FMCSA shared an end-of-the-year rundown of their, quote, accomplishments in 2019 that left several members of the trucking company confused and pissed off. FMC released a recap of their 2019 achievements and key priorities for improving safety on the nation's roadways with large trucks and buses. Here's the list. I'll read just the headings of the list that you could see in the article in the show notes. Improving regulatory efficiency, critical grant funding, supporting military service members, fighting human trafficking, helping people find jobs in trucking, exploring new technologies, raising awareness of large truck and bus safety. 2019 in trucking, the struggle was real. Several members of the trucking community took to Facebook to call out the FMCSA for their congratulatory tone in a year when trucking industry struggled. So, in October 2019, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration shared startling new statistics that indicated that in the full first year of the ELD mandate being effective, fatal crashes involving large trucks increased by 0.9%. Additionally, large truck occupant fatalities also increased by 0.8% to 885 in total for 2019. This marks the highest rate of large truck occupant crash deaths since 1988, when 911 people lost their lives. Additionally, a December 17th report from U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics showed that the truck driver topped the list of deadliest occupants in U.S. in 2018. While FMCSA finally debuted their long-awaited hours of service notice of proposed rulemaking in 2019, many members of the trucking community felt that the changes did not provide enough of promised flexibility for drivers. Additionally, in spite of the fact that the comment period for NPRM had been closed for more than 2 months, there had been no word on the final rule when the final rule would be published. The FMCSA also drew fire from trucking groups like OOIDA this year when they delayed the deadlines in the making truck driver training rule by 2 years. In late November 2019, the FMCSA announced that they were moving back the compliance date from February 7th, 2020 to February 7th, 2022 to allow state driver's license agencies time to update their IT infrastructure, internal procedures, and budgeting allocation to properly record driver course completion information. This year, we also saw the head of the FMCSA, Administrator Raymond P. Martinez, step down in October without a replacement. Late in 2019, the FMCSA announced a 50% increase in random drug test rate that is expected to cost the trucking industry $50 to $70 million this coming year. Worst of all, thousands of truck drivers lost their jobs this year after a difficult freight market caused in part by increased regulatory burden forced hundreds of trucking companies, large and small, to close. But yet, you know, they have all these doggone accolades and everything to do. This episode of Julia's Trucker Cafe is brought to you by My Patriot Supply. As truck drivers, we all know what it's like to be at a shipper's or receiver's and have to wait to be loaded for hours on end. Am I right? Especially produce coolers and paper mills. That's why you need to be prepared with extra food in your truck, especially with the bad weather coming in, like it is over here in Kansas. Up in the Dakotas and Minnesota, 90 was shut down, Interstate 94 was shut down, along with 29. What are you going to do if there's no food and a truck stop was without power? That's why you need to stay prepared with My Patriot Supply. Now, it's not what you're thinking. My Patriot Supply is delicious emergency food. They have food kits that are good up to 25 years. They come in a slimline tote that you can easily store in your food pantry or under your bunk. I could speak from experience. After living through Hurricane Katrina, we were without power for 10 days, me, my mother, son, and I. If it weren't for the MREs that were flown into us, we wouldn't have any food. There was 4 60-foot pine trees that broke in half during that storm and crossed my driveway and landlocked me in. That's when My Patriot Supply would have come in handy. If I knew then what I know now about My Patriot Supply, I definitely have some of this food stockpiled in my pantry. Now, for a limited time, you could get a 1-week supply of food in a handy and neat looking ammo can, like you see here, for just $39. Look at all that food you get. It's a week's worth of breakfast, lunch, and dinners, just for 39 bucks. How do you get it? Where do you go, do you ask? Well, I'll tell you. Just go to my website at juliastruckercafe.com, click on the Emergency Food Supply tab, scroll down and click on any of the images to find out more information and get yours today. They even offer gluten-free food for under $100. Winter weather is here. What would you do if the interstate was shut down, just like I was talking about? You need to get My Patriot Supply and get it today. And a Georgia cop catches a truck driver with unsecured load. Back the New Year's Eve, Georgia authorities shared a photo featuring an unsecured load violation. On December 30th, the Georgia Department of Public Safety shared a Facebook post about a traffic stop on what could have been very dangerous, hauling, I'll get this right, heavy equipment. Georgia Department of Public Safety wrote violation of the week. Region 1 stopped this unsecured load before it could cause any harm. As you can see here, it's a big truck, I guess an excavator. I'm not really familiar with all that heavy equipment. My brother John would come in handy right about now. But it was unsecured, wasn't chained down or anything. I'm like, holy cow. And now this happened overseas. A truck driver adds a car to an already oversized load. An overseas truck driver hauling an oversized load hooks a car. As you can kind of see here in this picture, the car is, he hooks it with the tail end of this pipe and drags it. There again, you can watch the video that's in the article. That'll be in the show notes, and the link will be in the description. Now, you're not going to believe this next story. Tumbleweeds pile up, traps cars and truck for hours. Washington State Police say that multiple drivers were trapped for hours in a bizarre tumbleweed pileup on New Year's Day. The incident, dubbed Tumblegedding, happened on December 31st near Richmond, Washington, when wind gusts sent hundreds of tumbleweeds onto Highway 240. Washington State Police said the tumbleweed pileup trapped several cars and a truck for several hours before the DOT crews using snow plows, and you could see it kind of reminds me of Gremlins, you know it? If you take a look at the picture, doesn't that remind you of the old movie Gremlins? And that's all the tumbleweeds that they are having to plow off the highway. Washington State Patrol Trooper Sarah Klassen told the news, everybody said, oh, it's just a tumbleweed, drive through it. But literally, you had vehicles driving off the road because they couldn't see the roadway. Even semi-trucks were on the wrong side of the road. It was a little bit of chaos and a lot of, well, we haven't had this before, but I guess we'll just figure it out. Luckily, no one was hurt. And a Georgia Quick Trip crash leaves semi-truck overturned with 10 cars being damaged. Georgia police are investigating a semi-truck driver who reportedly lost control following a collision with another vehicle, overturned and crashed into a gas station parking lot. The crash was reported around 7 a.m. on Thursday in Norcross, Georgia, and this is the first week of January. Early reports indicate that the semi-truck was involved in the crash with 2 passenger vehicles that were stopped at a traffic light westbound on Jimmy Carter Boulevard. This crash caused the driver to lose control and veer off the road, down an embankment and into the gas station parking lot. Cops say that 10 vehicles were damaged. One person was trapped in their car and had to be extracted. That person was transported to the hospital for treatment of non-life-threatening injuries. More traffic delays have been reported in that area, and of course the crash remains under investigation. And a Texas trucking company shuts down right at the end of the last year, New Year's Eve. A Texas-based trucking company ended 2019 by closing its doors for good, pointing to insurance costs as a reason for their closure. Diebold, Texas-based Fleetwood Transportation Services, Inc. shut down for good on December 31st, according to the local news. According to FMCSA website, the company employed around 240 truck drivers. So you figure 4,000 of Celadon, 400 in Canada, that's already 440, right? Another 240 now, that's up to 46, almost 5,000 drivers out of work in the last year. On December 17th, they sent a letter to the owner-operators explaining the reason for the shutdown. Company leaders say that insurance costs were a factor in their decision. From the letter and the article, quote, "We would have liked to have given you and your employees more notice. However, it has not been until recently that Fleetwood Transportation Services has been able to renew its insurance. At that time, the premiums for insurance became unaffordable, and the decision was made in the last week to cease operations." Thanks for letting everybody know. I mean, really? The company also asked drivers to complete the haul of any dispatch loads and promised to pay them for their services. Yeah, an IOU really pays the bills, huh? And I'm sorry, I have my glasses on. I just remember that I had them on. I was wondering, I'm like, why could I see so well all of a sudden? So I apologize about the glare. Let me take them off. 2019 saw hundreds of trucking companies close permanently, including Falcon, you know, and the rest of them that we know, and Celadon and that kind of thing. So this video, I hope you guys get a good laugh out of it, because if I can't laugh at myself, I mean, everybody's going to be laughing with me, because I'm really putting myself out there for the whole gazillion people to see. Thank you so much. Real quickly, a side note, thank you so much for everyone that has been subscribing to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. So now in this one, you get a really good laugh. I hope when you don't have anything better to do and you're down in the dumps, you can go ahead and just pop in my video and fire up my video and have a good laugh. But anyway, back to the news. Truckers are granted a restraining order in California after their law affected 70,000 owner-operators. A federal judge granted truckers in California temporary relief against a labor law that could threaten the jobs of tens of thousands of owner-operators. On New Year's Eve, the U.S. District Court for Southern District of California granted a temporary restraining order that will prevent the state from enforcing controversial labor law AB 5 against truck drivers. See, now you can see I'm squinting. I could see better with my glasses on. But with the glare, y'all can't see me. And everybody wants to see my eyes. Anyway, I'm sorry, I digress. AB 5 went into effect on January 1st, 2020 and would force many companies that employ independent contractors to reclassify the workers as employees who are entitled to minimum wage and workers' compensation. Employers who violate AB 5 risk paying large fines. The lawsuit asking for relief from AB 5 was filed in California Trucking Association on November 12th. The CTA argued that AB 5 infringes on interstate commerce and threatens the ability of approximately 70,000 independent truckers within the state of earning a living. Temporary restraining order will remain in place until the 13th of January, which is coming up. No, actually it passed as of this recording. Sorry, I had to look at my calendar. I'm all mixed up. When a hearing is scheduled for CTA's request for a preliminary injunction against AB 5, workers must pass the ABC test to be labeled as an independent contractor, meaning the worker must be, quote, this is the standards, free from control of the company. The worker must perform work outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business, and the worker must be engaged in independently established trade or business of the same nature as the work they are performing. So in other words, if you're a truck driver, you have to have your own authority. You can't be the lease purchase. The CTA argues that prong B, it's like a three-pronged fork, I guess, of the ABC test, which reads that the worker performs work that is outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business, is preempted by the Federal Aviation Administration Authorization Act of 1994, or the FAA. I know I sounded like a goat on there, didn't I? Prohibits any state from enacting or enforcing a law, regulation, or other provision having the force and effect of law related to a price, route, or service of any motor carrier with respect to the transportation of property. So they're going by the FAA law, which does it really, amount to truck drivers, really? And get to the next slide. Drivers say that they're back on paper logs after ELD outage. With PeopleNet, this happened January 3rd. One driver said he experienced an ELD crash. This new e-log system is going to put us out of business. A large number of truck drivers have reported that they're experiencing major functionality issues with their PeopleNet. Multi-sources, including Freightways, have reported that PeopleNet ELD devices are malfunctioning due to syncing problems between the server clock and the GPS related to the changeover to the 2020 calendar year. Yeah, I'm having a lot. I have Omnitrax, otherwise affectionately known as Qualcomm, and I'm having a lot of problems with mine changing screens. It takes, 3 to 4 to 5 seconds to change screens, and when you're at a security gate and you need to put your arrival call in, and then they're waiting for you to check in, you don't have time to wait. Well, I'm sorry, that's all we can do. And I'm like, really? Anyway, drivers have reported lengthy login times and say that multiple reboots were required to even make it to the login screen. PeopleNet is a Trimble transportation company, and they did not respond, of course, to requests for comment. Some drivers are reporting that their PeopleNet display reads, "This device is not functioning as an ELD. Paper logs may be required for backup. Check manual for instructions," end quote. Additionally, the display date on several drivers' PeopleNet appears to be 5/3/07, so it reverted all the way back to when the PeopleNet first came online. A Facebook user quotes, "Our entire fleet of PeopleNet computers went down December 31st. Apparently, the onboard calendar of the devices malfunctioned in manufactured in 2007, goes from 2007 to 2019. We know I could use the ELD function because the computer does not recognize the calendar year of 2020. We're on paper logs until they correct the problem, which apparently cannot be done via programming. Thanks, PeopleNet, for not seeing that problem coming. The FMCSA regs allow the use of paper logs for up to 8 days in the case of a device malfunction." Yeah, so what is the FMCSA going to do now? You know, when they can't use PeopleNet. Do you need a backup, like Keep Trucking app or on a tablet or your iPhone or something like that, and it's supposed to be mounted to your dash and everything else? What are all these PeopleNet users going to do? You know, I don't have no cotton-picking idea on that one. And this story is enough to make people pissed off, especially that are in the military. A semi full of belongings from 3 active duty military families were stolen on Christmas. But a, how do I say it? I'm searching for the word. Anyway, it jumped to the end of the story. I can't think of the word that I wanted to use. Anyways, it does have a happy ending. The California Highway Patrol, there again in California, says that there's a happy ending for 3 military families who lost all of their belongings when the semi-truck hauling them was stolen on Christmas Day. On the 3rd of January, Stockton Division of the Highway Patrol shared a news release detailing the theft that threatened the holidays for 3 active duty families. On Christmas Day, the theft of a tractor trailer and a 53-foot trailer occurred in Stockton. The trailer contained all of the belongings and property of 3 active duty military families who were in the process of relocation. The property had a total value of over $100,000. Investigators from the Delta Regional Auto Theft Team, Stockton PD, Manteca PD, Tracy PD, and a Sheriff's Department teamed up with Highway Patrol Cargo Theft Interdiction Program to investigate the theft. On the 28th of December, the investigators located and recovered the stolen truck and trailer in the city of Manteca. Later that evening, investigators authored and executed a search warrant for the home and identified a Michael Travis Forward in the city of Livingston, during which they located approximately 90% of the stolen cargo. They also located this Forward in possession of a stolen Harley Davidson. He was booked into jail on charges of related auto theft and cargo theft. I wonder why it couldn't be grand theft, you know, grand theft auto. The investigation is still ongoing, and investigators continue to attempt to locate the 14 stolen firearms. Well, of course, he probably pawned them, for Pete's sake, you know. And check this out. A doggone truck is hauling a building down the highway, and it was caught on camera. A motorist shared a bewildering video of a bizarre building structure haul. The video was reportedly captured in Virginia on New Year's Eve. The motorist explained just riding around and the building popped out onto the road smoking. He just had to record it. And you could see the video at the bottom of this article. There again, can't really do it with copyright infringement. So I want to greatly please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free. I wouldn't ask you to, you know, subscribe to something that it wasn't free. If you enjoy my work, and I'm struggling, I'm always struggling with these videos. I'm a truck driver, okay? Yes, I wear a baseball hat on these videos. When you see me out, I'll usually always have a baseball hat on. If you enjoy my show and you would like to help the cause and become a sponsor or to donate to the show, there's a link in the description below. Click the little red subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate that. And thank you so much for everybody who has subscribed to the YouTube channel recently. I greatly appreciate that as well. I'm trying to get something here and I can't bring it up at the moment. And if you're a new subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in each and every week to listen to me here on the cafe and watch me be silly on this cafe. Like I said, these videos are completely out of my comfort zone. I'm trying to relax and trying to do a better job and stuff like that, but there's going to be days that I'm just tired from driving all day. We know how it is, and really the last thing you really want to do is to record a video and such. But, you know, if you wouldn't mind sharing this video and also letting your friends know. You can also find me on iHeartRadio. I also have a podcast. So please, if you want to listen to me and really don't have time to watch the video, then there's also a podcast that you could listen to while you're driving. On my website, juliastruckandcafe.com, I share recipes under Cooking in Your Truck. Just go to the cafe menu, scroll down and look for Cooking in Your Truck, and you'll see recipes and videos of how I did it. I also have a how-to YouTube channel that I'm going to be doing more videos on. I have so much in the works for you guys, you know, so please subscribe, please stay tuned. Like I said, thank you so much for dealing with me, and really appreciate all of you subscribers. Please subscribe to my email list. I'll send you the show notes right to your inbox. This way you don't have to come back to the website or anything, which I'm glad that you do to view the articles that I reference in the show. And as I'm having new things coming up, you'll be the first one to find out what's going on. Before I forget, leave a comment on the bottom of any episode or at the bottom of the description. You know, how did you like the show? Please give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a thumbs down. I understand. You know, like I said, I'm completely out of my comfort zone. But all of y'all take care and have a blessed week. You have been listening to Julia's Truckin' Cafe Truckin' News Hour. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Take care. Have a blessed day.